Preparing for Java questions for a software engineering interview is important for demonstrating your Java knowledge, handling technical discussions, having confidence during the interview, and differentiating yourself.
What is Java? Java is an object-oriented programming language. It has been a popular choice among developers for over 2 decades, with millions of Java applications in use today. It is written in Java, C++, C, and assembly language. It is a multi-platform language that can run on Microsoft Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. The main features of Java include platform independence, object-oriented programming, automatic memory management, multi-threading, and exception handling. What are the 4 pillars of OOP? The 4 pillars of OOP are abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism. Abstraction enables hiding certain details and showing only essential information. We can achieve abstraction by either abstract classes or interfaces. Inheritance makes the OOP code more modular, easier to reuse, and builds a relationship between classes. Encapsulation enables hiding a class's private details from other objects. Polymorphism can allow us to use a common operation in different ways, in other words, calling the same method on different objects at runtime. What is the difference between a class and an object? A class is a blueprint or template for creating objects. It defines variables and methods. On the other hand, an object is an instance of a class. What is the difference between JDK, JRE, and JVM? JDK, which is Java Development Kit, is a software development kit that provides the tools required to develop and compile Java applications. JRE, which is Java Runtime Environment, is an environment that provides the necessary runtime libraries to execute Java programs. JVM, which is Java Virtual Machine, is an abstract machine that executes Java bytecode. JDK also includes JRE. On the other hand, JRE is a standalone library needed to run Java programs. JVM is a process. The running Java process is called JVM. What is the difference between a static method and an instance method? An instance method belongs to an instance of the class and can only be called on objects of that class. A static method belongs to the class itself. We call a static method by preceding it with the class name and using dot notation. Instance methods rely on each object's specific data, while static methods must not rely on data from a specific object. What is method overloading? Method overloading refers to defining multiple methods with the same name but different parameters within the same class. The overloaded methods must have different parameter lists. The overloaded methods differ in the number of parameters, their types, or the order of parameters. What is method overriding? Method overriding occurs when a subclass provides a different implementation of a method that is already defined in its superclass. The methods in the superclass and subclass must have the same name, return type, and parameter list. An overriding method can also return a subtype of the type returned by the overridden method. When overriding a method, you should use the @override annotation that instructs the compiler that you intend to override a method in the superclass. What is encapsulation in Java? Encapsulation is a mechanism that binds the data and methods together as a single unit. Encapsulation enables hiding class variables from other classes, and variables can only be accessed by the methods of the class in which they are found. What is the difference between equals and equals? The equals operator compares the references of 2 objects to determine if they are the same, while the equals method compares the contents or values of 2 objects to check for equality. What is the difference between a constructor and a method? A constructor is a special method that is used to initialize objects and has the same name as the class. It is automatically called when an object is created. A method, on the other hand, is a block of code that performs a specific task and can be called on objects. What are access modifiers in Java? Access modifiers control the visibility and accessibility of Java classes, variables, methods, and constructors. In Java, the access modifiers are public, protected, private, and the default. When no access modifier is used, it means the access modifier is the default. The public access modifier allows access to everyone, while the private access modifier hides it completely. No one can access it except the class itself. The protected access specifier allows access to classes or interfaces within the same package or to the subclasses. On the other hand, the default is a package-level access specifier that allows access to other classes and interfaces present only in the same package. What is the use of the final keyword in Java? The final keyword is used to indicate that a variable, method, or class cannot be changed or overridden. For example, a final variable cannot be reassigned to any other value, a final method cannot be overridden, and a final class cannot be subclassed. What is the use of the static keyword in Java? The static keyword is used to define variables, methods, and nested classes that belong to the member belonging to a type itself, rather than to an instance of that type. This means only one instance of that static member is shared across all instances of the class. Static members can be accessed directly using the class name without creating an object of the class. What is the difference between checked and unchecked exceptions? Checked exceptions are checked at compile time. The checked exceptions must be handled or declared using the throws keyword. Unchecked exceptions, also known as runtime exceptions, are not checked at compile time and do not require explicit handling or declaration. In brief, a checked exception is caught at compile time, whereas a runtime or unchecked exception is, as it states, at runtime. What is the difference between string buffer and string builder? String buffer and string builder are both used to manipulate strings, but string buffer is synchronized. It is thread safe. What it means is that two threads can't call the methods of string buffer simultaneously. String builder is non-synchronized. It means that two threads can call the methods of string builder simultaneously. It is not thread safe. String builder is more efficient in a single-threaded environment. What is autoboxing and unboxing? Autoboxing is the automatic conversion of a primitive type to its corresponding wrapper class object, and unboxing is the automatic conversion of a wrapper class object to its corresponding primitive type. What is the this keyword used? The this keyword is used to refer to the current instance of a class. It is often used to differentiate between instance variables and parameters with the same name. What is polymorphism? Polymorphism is the ability of an object to take on many forms. The typical way to achieve polymorphism is by using the program to interfaces design principle. In this design principle, we use interfaces instead of concrete classes and method parameters. In the runtime, depending on which class implementing the interface is passed, the method on that class is called. For example, instead of ArrayList, we can use list interface as a method parameter. That way, in the runtime, we can pass ArrayList, linked list, or any other class implementing the list interface. Since there is runtime binding in Java, at runtime, whichever object is passed in the method on that object is called. The program to interfaces design principle allows us to pass different implementations of the same interface, which means different objects, when calling the method. This is polymorphism. What is the difference between an abstract class and an interface? From an object-oriented programming perspective, the main difference between an interface and an abstract class is that an interface cannot have a state. An interface cannot contain instance fields. The only fields that can appear in an interface must be declared static and final. On the other hand, the abstract class can have states with instance variables. What is a package in Java? A package is a mechanism to organize classes and interfaces into separate namespaces. It helps avoid naming conflicts and provides a way to group related classes. For example, you can have utility classes in the util package, or order entry related classes in the order package, etc. What is the difference between the throw and throws keywords? The throw keyword is used to explicitly throw an exception, while the throws keyword is used in a method declaration to specify the exceptions that the method can throw. What is the difference between a while loop and a do-while loop? In a while loop, the condition is checked at the beginning, and if it is false, the loop is never executed. In a do-while loop, the condition is checked at the end, so the loop is executed at least once before checking the condition. What is the purpose of the super keyword? The super keyword is used to refer to the superclass of a class. It can be used to call the superclass constructor and access the superclass's methods or variables. What is the difference between composition and inheritance? Composition is a relationship between two classes, where one class contains other classes as attributes or as instance variables. For example, the order class containing warehouse and shipping classes is an example of composition. On the other hand, inheritance is a mechanism where a subclass inherits the properties and methods of its superclass. Composition allows more flexibility as we can apply the program to interfaces design principles. Thus, composition helps to build a loosely coupled system compared to inheritance. What is the difference between a stack and a heap in Java? The stack is used for local variables and method call executions. On the other hand, The heap is used for dynamic memory allocation, including objects and arrays. For example, objects and arrays are created in the heap. What are the different types of variables in Java? In Java, variables can be classified into three types: local variables, instance variables, and class variables, also called static variables. What is the purpose of the finalize method? The finalize method is called by the garbage collector before an object is garbage collected. It can be overridden to perform any necessary cleanup or resource release operations, for example, closing a database connection. What is the difference between a break statement and a continue statement? A break statement is used to terminate the execution of a loop or switch statement, while a continue statement is used to skip the current iteration of a loop and move to the next iteration. What is the role of the try-catch-finally block in exception handling? The try-catch-finally block is used to handle exceptions in Java. The code inside the try block is executed, and if an exception occurs, it is caught and handled in the corresponding catch block. The finally block is used to specify code that should be executed regardless of whether an exception occurred or not. What is a lambda expression in Java? A lambda expression is a concise way to call an anonymous function in Java. Lambda expression in Java is implemented using functional interfaces, which contain a single abstract method. What is a functional interface in Java? A functional interface is an interface that has only one abstract method. It can be used as the target for lambda expressions and method references. What is the default keyword in Java interfaces? The default keyword defines a default implementation for a method in an interface. It allows interfaces to evolve without breaking existing implementations. How does Java support multithreading? Java provides built-in support for multithreading through the thread class and the java.util.concurrent package. Threads can be created by extending the thread class or implementing the runnable interface. Synchronization mechanisms like locks and semaphores are available to manage thread synchronization and coordination. What is the purpose of the volatile keyword in Java? The volatile keyword is used to indicate that multiple threads may modify a variable's value. It ensures that the variable is always read from and written to the main memory. This way, volatile prevents any thread-specific caching. What is the purpose of the synchronize keyword in Java? The synchronize keyword is used to create synchronized blocks and methods, ensuring that only one thread can access the synchronized code block or method at a time. The synchronize keyword helps achieve thread safety and prevent race conditions. What is the difference between an array list and a linked list? An array list is implemented as a resizable array, while a linked list is implemented as a doubly linked list. Array list provides fast random access but slower insertion and removal operations in the middle of an array list. Inserting or removing elements in the middle of an array list can be slow because it requires shifting all the elements after the insertion or removal point. On the other hand, the insertion and removal operations are faster in a linked list because there is no resizing of an array done in the background. When a new item is added somewhere in the middle of the list, only references and surrounding elements need to change. But certain operations, such as searching for an element or iterating through the list, can be slower in a linked list because it is a linear data structure that must be traversed from the head node until the end of the list. Random access is not possible in a linked list due to its dynamic memory allocation. What is the difference between a hash map and a hash table? Both hash map and hash table are used to store key value pairs. But hash map is not synchronized and allows null keys and any number of null values, while hash table is synchronized and does not allow null keys or values. What is the difference between the compare to and equals methods? The compare to method compares two objects based on their natural ordering and returns a negative, 0, or positive value. The equals method is used to check if two objects are equal based on their content or value. What is the purpose of the string builder class? The string builder class is used to create and manipulate mutable strings. It provides methods for efficient string concatenation and modification. String builder executes significantly faster, as unlike string buffer, the methods in the string builder class are not synchronized. What is the purpose of the math class in Java? The math class in Java provides many methods for mathematical operations, such as finding the square root, absolute value, trigonometric functions, and many more. What are the different types of loops in Java? Java supports several types of loops: for loop, while loop, do while loop, and the enhanced for each loop. What is the purpose of the instance of operator in Java? The instance of operator checks if an object is an instance of a specific class or a class that inherits from it. What is the purpose of the finalize method in the object class? The finalize method is called by the garbage collector before an object is garbage collected. It can be overridden to perform any necessary cleanup or resource release operations. The finalize method is not guaranteed to be called. What is constructor chaining in Java? Constructor chaining refers to calling one constructor from another constructor within the same class, or between parent and child classes using the this or super keywords. What is the difference between the stack and the heap memory? The stack memory is used for storing method calls, local variables, and references to objects. On the other hand, the heap memory is dynamically allocated and is used for storing objects. What is the purpose of the assert keyword? The assert keyword is used for debugging purposes to check if a given condition is true. If the condition is false, it throws an assertion error. What is the purpose of the transient keyword? The transient keyword indicates that a variable should not be serialized during object serialization. It is often used for variables that are not needed to be persisted. What is the purpose of the native keyword? The native keyword indicates that a method is implemented in a platform-specific manner using native code written in languages like C or C++. It is often used for low-level operations or interfacing with system libraries. What is the difference between an error and an exception? Errors represent serious problems that are usually beyond the programmer's control, such as out-of-memory or Stack Overflow errors. Exceptions, on the other hand, represent exceptional conditions that the program can handle or anticipate. What is the purpose of the system.gc method? The system.gc method suggests the JVM to run the garbage collector. However, there is no guarantee that the garbage collector will actually run in response to this suggestion. What is the purpose of the enum? The enum is a special type in Java used to define a group of constants. Enums provide type safety and can be used in switch statements. What are the different access modifiers? Java has 4 access modifiers: public, protected, private, and the default. They control the visibility and accessibility of classes, variables, methods, and constructors. What is the purpose of the static block? The static block is used to initialize the static variables or perform some one-time initialization tasks for a class. It is executed when the class is loaded into memory. What is the purpose of the super keyword in a constructor? The super keyword is used to call the constructor of the superclass from the subclass constructor. It is used to initialize the inherited members of the subclass. What is the purpose of the break statement? The break statement is used to terminate the execution of a loop or switch statement. It is often used to exit a loop prematurely or skip the remaining iterations. What is the purpose of the continue statement? The continue statement is used to skip the current iteration of a loop and move to the next iteration. It is often used to skip certain iterations based on a specific condition. What is the purpose of the toString method? The toString method is used to return a string representation of an object. It is often overridden to provide meaningful information about the object state. What is the purpose of the equals method? The equals method is used to check if 2 objects are equal based on their content or value. It is often overridden to provide custom equality checks. What is the purpose of the hashcode method? The hashcode method is used to return the hashcode value of an object. It is often overridden when the equals method is overridden to maintain the contract between the 2 methods. What is the purpose of the try with resources statement? The try with resources statement automatically closes resources that implement the auto-closable interface, such as file streams or database connections. It ensures that the resources are properly closed, even in the case of an exception. What is ArrayList and how it works? An ArrayList is a resizable array, or a dynamic array. ArrayList internally uses an array to store the elements. Just like arrays, it allows you to retrieve the elements by their index. It grows its size to accommodate new elements. Also, you can trim the capacity of ArrayList using its trim to size method if you have removed elements. What is hashcode method? A hashcode is an integer value associated with each Java object. Its main purpose is to facilitate hashing in hash tables used by data structures like HashMap and HashTable. The hashcode method is defined in Java object class. By default, the hashcode method returns an integer that represents the internal memory address of the object. What is the hashcode and equals method? The equals and hashcode are the 2 important methods the object class provides for comparing objects. If 2 objects are equal by the equals method, their hash code must be the same. If two objects are not equal by the equals method, it is not required that their hash code must be different. By default, the hash code returns an integer that represents the internal memory location of the object. The default implementation of the equals method compares the object references, or the memory location where the objects are stored in a heap. If you override the default equals method, you must override the default hashcode method as well. What is HashMap and how it works? HashMap provides the basic implementation of the map interface of Java. It stores the data in a key-value mapping in which every key is mapped to exactly one value of any data type. HashMap works on the hashing algorithm and uses the hashcode and equals method on the key for get and put operations. HashMap uses a linked list as a bucket to store elements. When we call the put method, the hashcode of the key determines which bucket will be used to store the mapping. HashMap is almost similar to Hashtable, except that it is not synchronized, means its methods are not thread safe, and HashMap allows null keys and values. What is HashSet and how it works? The HashSet class implements the set interface and is commonly used when we need a collection to store unique data elements. In other words, HashSet cannot contain duplicate elements. HashSet internally uses HashMap to store its elements. Whenever you create a HashSet object, one HashMap object associated with the HashSet object is also created. This HashMap object stores the elements you add to the HashSet. The elements you add into HashSet are stored as keys of this HashMap object. What is the use of the class.forName method in Java? The class.forName method dynamically loads and initializes a class at runtime. It is often used in reflection and database driver loading. What is the use of the getClass method in Java? The getClass method is used to get the runtime class of an object. It returns an instance of the class, which provides various methods to examine the class properties and invoke its methods. What is the use of the comparator and comparable interfaces in Java? The comparator interface is used to define custom comparison logic for objects. It provides methods to compare two objects and determine their order. The comparable interface is used to define the natural ordering of objects. It provides a method compareTo to compare an object with another object of the same type. What is the use of the format method in the string class? The format method in the string class is used to format a string using placeholders and arguments. It is similar to the functionality provided by the printf function in C. What is the use of the trim method in the string class? The trim method in the string class is used to remove leading and trailing whitespaces from a string. What is the use of the toUpperCase and toLowerCase methods in the string class? The toUpperCase method in the string class is used to convert a string to uppercase characters. The toLowerCase method in the string class is used to convert a string to lowercase characters. What is the use of the substring and split methods in the string class? The substring method in the string class is used to extract a substring from a given string, based on specified start and end indices. The split method in the string class is used to split a string into an array of substrings based on a specified delimiter. What is the use of the value of method in Java? The value of method converts a string representation of a value into its corresponding primitive type or object wrapper class. What is the use of the character class in Java? The character class is used to represent a single character. It provides methods for character manipulation and conversion. What is the use of the date and calendar classes in Java? The date class is used to represent a specific moment in time. It provides methods to manipulate and format dates. The calendar class manipulates and works with dates and times. It provides methods to perform various date-related calculations.